What a day today. We saw a gap down initially, support at the prior head and shoulders, the inverted head and shoulders price target, and then launched upwards into this gap resistance zone. The price stalled at the top of that area and fell dramatically on rising volume towards the bottom. This makes me think it might be a bear trap, the price being pushed down so quickly at the very end of the day. To see a bunch of buying at the end of the day would make me think there was some desire to buy the dip. Looking at the daily chart, you're going to see I have grayed out my blue symmetrical triangle. And that's because it's simply time to do that. This pattern ended today. And at this point, one of the price targets should be met in the near future. It's incredible. I cannot describe how this just doesn't make any sense to continue without reaching one of these price targets. The falling wedge here in gray, it was coming down and we saw the break upward and outward, and then that run got sent into consolidation. That doesn't mean that the price action's done. It just means that there was enough selling to keep that run from continuing. That we then saw a consolidation pattern shows that that same pressure downward wasn't enough to stop that run. It just is pushing it out. And what we see as of late is the price starting to escape that downward pressure. And there is a lot of downward pressure. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to draw this line. Okay? Because it's applicable. There is a lot of selling pressure here. Short interest is high. Very high. Volume is dropping a lot. There are going to be some market dynamics in play going into the future that could determine which way the price goes. In terms of technical analysis, though, it could go either way. It really is something of a coin toss at the moment. Not seeing a drastic run today makes the likelihood of a turnaround, a decline tomorrow, much higher. And that decline could really start a longer sell-off. And perhaps there's another floor test in the future. However, that said, I am seeing that implied volatility is still increasing. It's not a lot, but it is still a higher low that we have seen set yesterday. And of course, the peaks keep going up. I want to continue to see this trend in the implied volatility. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if this implied volatility is what drives the price action. You'll see that the 30-day average volume is just about at today's volume. The difference being somewhere in the 700,000 region, making yesterday's volume nearly identical. All right, they're within 2 million of each other, or within 10%. This downtrend in the volume can't continue forever. Neither can the price continue to list sideways forever. The RSI came down a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. It's good to see that wasn't a sharp turn downward. Sharp turns downward are ominous. You can see this wasn't a sharp turn and it was alright. Sharp turn here, but we bounced. This sharp turn did not. This sharp turn did not. So what I see here is hesitancy. It's gonna be a little harder to decipher the MACD because we've had this fake out. And I would love to have this to read into my RSI. The MACD is suggesting that no momentum was lost. The short and long periods are not closing together, and the green wave is still increasing. So there are some still clues that the bulls are still here. The price isn't ready to fall apart yet. And deep down, I think we're going to see a run. It's not based on any analysis, it's just my gut. That said, I'm going to go into the other charts. Let's start with the 4 hour. Let me get my charts there. We'll check on this double bottom. It's doing alright. You may remember that yesterday, the day before, I was drawing this triangle, like half expecting this handle to take another triangle, and that could happen, which is ridiculous, given that the price has been stalling for 6 months now. It's incredible. I can't even believe it, but I'm looking at it. The rejection today took place nearly at that double bottom confirmation level for $44.44. The high being $44.43. Essentially, this was a rejection off of this double bottom confirmation. Again, if this double bottom confirms, I'm looking for this higher price target. It technically did confirm here. The gap down suggests that this move was too high. This was a premature confirmation. To see the price reject at that level now isn't great. And it just gives me another reason to say that we're at a crucial point in the price action and in time. Any breakout to the upside, even a small breakout to the upside, could trigger this, accomplishing multiple price targets upwards. But it has to happen first. I bet that if there's a dip off of today's rejection, that it won't go further than 37.45. It won't go below the last minor dip. Personally, I think seeing all of these bullish patterns thrown into consolidation, one right after the other, really just speaks to the effort of the short interest. Eventually, the short interest will have limits. And when those limits are met and the tides turn, I think it's going to be a snowball of pressure, but running upwards. So maybe like a balloon. I don't know. Let's go ahead and move into the 15-minute charts. This is where I do most of my work. It's a little messy. I do my best to clean it up. Let's give ourselves 30 days here and have a look. So I see a broadening top forming. Now there is an upper target for the broadening top at $52. There's also a lower target of $34.80. That's a big spread in targets. It really is. It's just wild. At this time, it really is a coin flip, it feels like, to see which way the price is going to go. I see implied volatility is increasing steadily though, and this makes me bullish. I like to see that. When implied volatility goes up, so does the price. You'll see that here. When this bottom came in, implied volatility started to rise. And it rose until that minor high. And then that gap down absolutely dealt catastrophic damage to that. However, this bounce, look at this. It's like a perfect inverted head and shoulders in the implied volatility, which is not a thing, but it looks this way. And I kind of expect to see it just leave that area, and it wouldn't surprise me if it rose in a straight line. I'm sitting here shaking my head because since November 9th, I have been looking for the breakout of this triangle, the completion of these patterns. Months and months and months of consolidation and decreasing volume. Wish-washy swings momentum indicators. Meanwhile, the price remains elevated at unprecedented levels. It's only going to be a matter of time before this pressure mounts and breaks. Which way it goes is up to anyone. Personally, I'm in it for the upside. The way upside. Let's just take a look at the 1-minute chart really quick. And let me tell you what I see. Well, first I see that I haven't updated my 1-minute chart at all for several days. But here we are. Gap down, nice jump, top of that gap zone resistance, drop down, and then this buy at the very end. Whoa, let me get out of that. This makes me think that the price dropped, and look at all this volume show up. It's almost like someone is getting ready for tomorrow.